everyone, my name is Kyle, and today I'm going to be talking about the human energy field. This will be the 10th video installment in my YouTube series that's currently called Religion. However, it's really just yoga and a relatively non-denominational look at how principles of the universe work. So with this video, it's probably going to be the most eclectic video that I have recorded yet, just because I'm going to be pulling from about 7 different religious sources for this one, so it is going to get a pretty well-rounded picture of the whole idea of what's going on. So I'm going to look at the human energy field in 3 different categories. The first one is going to be the spiritual belief in relation to the physical body, basically saying that your spirit is your body. The second one is going to be based off of geometric shapes, and the third one is going to be on a metaphysical level. So with the physical body, the most commonly thought of version of this would be the Christian aspect, where how they see that after you die and your spirit leaves your body, you go to heaven. Now granted, they have a metamorphosis, which is supposed to show change and moving on to a new style of life where you grow wings and have a halo. And this is a particularly interesting belief on the Christians' behalf because they don't really equate the physical with the spiritual. However, they do in this one instance. And what I mean when I say that is Christianity typically tends to look at the world as a product created by God instead of it being something where the Hindus would see it as a manifestation of God pretending to be all of the people that exist. Now another note on this is that the word for God in Islam is Allah, and with the body there is arm, leg, arm, head, A-L-L-A-H. Not necessarily as the truth because, this word is derived from an Arabic word, but it is interesting to note that similarity because we are all just one giant thing experiencing itself. Now, in the Aztec religion, they had this belief called Tonalli, which was one of the souls of the body. So in the Aztec belief, you had a soul in your mind, your heart, and your liver. And when you sneezed and fell asleep, the soul in your mind would go away, but the soul in your heart and your liver would stay there, which explains how people can overdose on drugs and come back to life, or how they can have temporary deaths and come back. Now, when the Franciscans, I believe that's how you pronounce it, friars, first came to Mesoamerica, they had described the soul of the mind, the Tonalli, as being similar to Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, where God breathes life into Adam's nose. Because the way that the soul and the mind works in the Aztec belief is that upon your conception and your entering of soul into the body, the god Quetzalcoatl, which is a snake god which has a similarity to the Kundalini we're going to talk about, creates this fire inside of your head with one of those rubbing sticks that you would use in basic fires a couple hundred years ago. So this is going to bring us to the second type of spiritual aspect or human energy field, which is going to be the geometric. So this is going to come from Vedantic literature. It's called the Sri Yantra, and it looks just like this. So the Sri Yantra is based out of 9 different triangles in total. 4 of them point upwards and 5 point downwards. The 4 that point upwards are representative of male energy, while the 5 that point downwards are representative of female energy. Along with it, the square that exists right here on the outside is supposed to represent the earth and all of the basic emotions that people feel, like happiness, love, sadness, similar to the creation in the Gnostic belief with how Sophia created the world. Now, right here, there's this pattern of 3 rings, which are representative of the past, present, and future. While these lotuses right here, there's 16 in total in the outside grouping. The first 10 represent the different sense organs of the body, so that would be the tongue, the nose, the mouth, the skin, the eyes, the ears, hands, feet, arms, and genitals. The next 5 lotuses on here are representative of the elements, which would be earth, water, fire, air, and space. And then the last petal here on the top is representative of the mind, because that is what brings everything together and processes through all of the information. So now we're going to take a step over, still looking at a geometric aspect. This is going to be coming from Judaism. So it's going to be called the Merkaba, which literally translated into English means rotating spirit of the body. And as you can see, the Merkaba is made up of two different pyramids, one upwards, one downwards facing, which is also representative of the male and female energy, the same as the Sri Yantra. So if you'd notice, this is actually a three-dimensional Star of David, and this is from the Jewish religion. So what they believe is that the energy of the body creates itself in this pattern right here and flows from the feet through the head, terminating at the top, similar to the chakra system, which we'll be covering in a moment. Now, the interesting thing with the Merkaba is if you take a 3D image of this and render it as a 2D picture, it lines up perfectly with Metatron's cube. And Metatron's cube is this design right here. The Merkaba is highlighted a bit more than the Metatron's cube. So Metatron's cube is a combination of all of the Platonic solids. So that would be things like squares, dodecahedrons, and the tetrahedron, because they all have the same face on all of the sides and congruent angles for all of them. And if you put all of them together, I believe it's 8 different shapes, and you put them into a 2D rendering, it would look exactly like this, which is called Metatron's cube. Now, the interesting thing, as I'm going to cover in a video on sacred geometry, however, if you're interested in finding out more, there's a channel called Spirit Science. Check their sacred geometry video out. It'll explain more sooner than I'm able to get to it. The Metatron's cube, which is the image of all the Platonic solids, lines up perfectly with the Flower of Life design, which is all of these interlocking circles. If you are a Christian and you believe in the 7 days for creation, when you originally make this pattern based off of the movement of circles in different ways, it would take 7 rotations to completely finish itself, which would be the first pattern of it. Past that, you see the nature of the double helixed DNA that would arise out of the Flower of Life, which also contains Metatron's cube. And the Flower of Life is supposed to not only just be an inner religious symbol, but contain all of the information on the meaning of life and the universe. So this is going to bring us to the third different way to look at the human energy field, and this is going to be the metaphysical. So if you study yoga, meditation, you'll probably be familiar with the chakra system, which is a grouping of 7 different spiritual spots in the body. However, there is also an offshoot which has 12, and the interesting thing is 7 and 12 are the number of white keys, or the number of white and black keys in the Western music scale. And this is in part because everything is a pattern of itself and made of vibrations, just as music. So as you would go up the chakra system, if you were to create a mantra, which is just a basic saying for the different chakras, starting from the base of the spine going to the top of your head, it would be I am, I feel, I do, I love, I speak, I see, and I understand. So putting the chakra systems together, it would end up looking something similar to this, rising from the bottom of the body to the top. And these are the different seals for them. And this brings me to the last type of the human energy field, which is the Kundalini. And the Kundalini is Sanskrit-based, and it's this belief that there is this energy serpent that wraps up your spine and goes through the chakras in the body. Now, when it's designed, the spine is supposed to be representative of male energy being more straightforward and direct, while the snake itself, the Kundalini, is representative of female power or energy because it moves around, it's more creative, and has more of a yonic feel to it. Now, if you'd notice, this also carries back to the same male-female balance that we had in the geometric aspect. So with the Kundalini, There are different types that you can activate. It's said that if you activate the Pungala Kundalini, you burn alive and die because you spontaneously combust from all of the energy that's in there. Along with it, Gopi Krishna had written a book, I believe in the 70s or 80s, which is a very popular account of his own personal experience, combining a lot of information on the Kundalini and his personal process, where he stopped being interested in eating. He would have moments of pure bliss and radiation where he could not focus on the rest of the world and would lose track of time in these states, similar to nirvana that Siddhartha Gautama had talked about. So if you take a look at what the Kundalini looks like, that's going to be the rest of this image here. And you've probably seen this before because this is the same snake that pops up in the Greek mythology, which is called the caduceus staff, which is the same thing used in the medical field now as the symbol for it. And the caduceus staff came from the god Hermes, who also existed within the Egyptian religion, and he was known as Thoth, who was supposedly the person who had built the pyramids. And they have created the religion called Hermeticism, which I have briefly touched on in videos before, and will have my own dedicated video to it in the future. But keep in mind that this pulls together the same ideas, which is the serpent energy inside of you. And there's a part in the book of Matthew in the Bible which says that may your essence be as wise as serpents and as peaceful as doves, which directly goes together into this image of what the Kundalini would be and the caduceus staff. So another way that you have seen this before, specifically on ambulances, is this design with the caduceus staff or Kundalini inside of a six-pointed star, which we had already seen earlier in this video, because as I've liked to highlight in the series, the secrets of the universe are hidden right in front of us in plain sight. So this Kundalini energy, you know, the serpent power inside of you, the caduceus staff, and this six-pointed star is actually a combination of the metaphysical Kundalini or caduceus staff and the geometric belief of the Merkaba, put together over top of one another on the physical body to then create this form right here, which we commonly see today. Thank you very much for watching.